What's up, guys? Spiritual Lemonade back with another video. We got our second week in a row doing this style video. This is everything that I listened to from the drops on May 2nd this past week. This is everything, EP, album, all that stuff. In Christian music, the first one is somewhat Christian, kind of not at the same time, but it's Donda 2 by Kanye West. This was his follow-up to Donda back in, I think 2020 is when Donda, the first one, dropped, and that is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's an incredible project. This Donda 2, it was okay. Kind of had very similar layout to Donda 1, with follow-up features from Fivio Foreign, Playboy Cardi, Travis Scott, I think, Don Toliver. So it was a lot of the same features. Kind of felt like he was trying to do the same exact thing, just again. And there was a lot of unfinished sounding songs on here. Mr. Miyagi was one of my favorites on this project. And there was Lord Lift Me Up was maybe a song on here. I can't see the song names on Music Board, which is kind of annoying. But there were a couple that I did really like and enjoy. There was a random Jack Harlow feature on here. The only reason I give it a 3 is just because of the production and mix quality on most of the songs were pretty bad. But as a whole, it was a pretty solid album. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say for Donda 2. Let's see, okay. Next one is one of my favorite albums that dropped in Christian rap this week by Isaac Mansfield, called 305. I've never listened to a full album by Isaac Mansfield. I only know him from his collabs with Venice and I think Dela Cruz as well. So he's kind of new to me, and this album really blew me away. He's very underground sounding with a very mainstream kind of polished sound. So as underground as it did sound, it has the potential to really go mainstream, which I really enjoyed. There was a lot of different production styles throughout this, a lot of different flows, melodic kind of stuff going on. So I really enjoyed that project. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next one is The Last One Standing by Jeremy James Whittaker. This is also a new artist to me. I've never heard of him before, but O2 Solace is on this album, and that song popped up on my Spotify release radar, so that's what got me kind of interested in this album. I did a full album reaction earlier this week to this, and it was a super solid project. Again, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I was going into it expecting hyperpop, and there were definitely some hyperpop elements throughout this album, but I came to realize I think Jeremy James Whittaker is more of an EDM kind of producer, and he produced this whole album, and he also added vocals to it. So there were some songs that kind of reminded me of early TobyMac, like I said in my reaction, kind of gave off like Eye on It and This Is Not a Test vibes, like that kind of era of TobyMac. There was some really cool vocal effects going on in that as well. I highly recommend you check this one out for yourself. There we go. Back to Praise by Melody Noel. Never heard of her before, but it looks like original music on the website that I usually kind of go off of for new releases in Christian, like CCM music. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5. It was okay. Her voice is really good. The lyrics, though, didn't really do it for me. The production was pretty good as well. It just, some of the lyrics, it's just like, I don't know, overused and nothing super fresh in the lyrics. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 just for that reason. Next up, we have Please Move Slower by Luke Hop. This is Luke Hop's newest album, I think his second one for the year, the follow-up to Shades of Blue that dropped earlier this year. And this is a new style from him. It's very, I don't even know how to describe it, very singer-songwriter kind of. I got a lot of Coldplay and John Bellion vibes on this album. Super solid. It is probably my favorite. I think it is for sure my favorite album that he's dropped. I think this side of his artistry, where it's definitely more singer-songwriter, more melodic, this is definitely the lane for him. I like some of his rap stuff, but this one definitely is more of the stuff I'd actually listen to in a playlist personally. So shout out to Luke Hop for this one called Please Move Slower. Let's go into this next one, Planted Deep by Vaughn Michael and Selah. This is a collab project between him and Selah. It's just not listed on here. But yeah, it's called Planted Deep. It was a fairly long album. It was almost 50 minutes, I think, 18 tracks. And I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, mostly because I will say this before I get too critical. This is probably my favorite batch of songs that Vaughn Michael has ever dropped. I've really been tapped into his music since, I want to say, like 2020, so like almost 5 years. I've just watched him on YouTube kind of grow as an artist, and this is my favorite batch of songs, like mix wise and like audio quality wise. It is his best album that he's put out, but just lyrics, again, kind of going off of what I was saying about Melody Noel, just very generic lyrics, nothing super, like the messages had some kind of deeper meaning, but the way he was getting to those messages was just through very generic kind of lyrics. And there were some times where Selah was singing. She has a really good voice on this album, but sometimes I feel like it didn't mesh exactly the way it probably should have. I don't know. It just didn't always mesh well exactly with the vibe of the tracks. So that's why I gave it a 2 out of 5 star on that one. Next up, we have Where's the Joy Deluxe Edition by We Are Messengers. It's a very solid project, but it was 19 tracks, and it was like an hour and something minutes. Like it was over an hour, and it just kind of got like, felt like the same song over and over again. But there's definitely some gems on here that I really liked and will probably add to a playlist eventually. There were some really good features on this one as well. And then I think towards the end there were a couple remixes which were kind of unnecessary. I feel like that should have probably just dropped as a single or something, which is why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like incredible, but it also wasn't terrible. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. Next up we have Life from Up Top by KJ the Kid. I also gave this a 2 out of 5 star rating. He has a lot of potential. He has a really good voice. It's just the mix of both the beat and the vocals needs a lot of work, and sometimes the flow also needs a little bit of work. He is like, I think he literally is a kid, so I'm not going to be too like critical over this. I'm just being honest with everything I listen to and letting you guys know my real and honest thoughts about it. I just think he needs a better mix, a better vocal take, like, or maybe it's a mic or something that he just needs to get a better mic. And then also the beats that he's using are mixed pretty poorly, so I don't know if he just needs to get a better producer, or if he has one. I don't even know if he has one, but maybe just start picking better beats off YouTube. But yeah, that's what I gotta say for that one. The next album is not a new album from this week, but it is one that's from 2025. It dropped March 28th. This is Fire of a Billion Suns live by Amariah, I think is how you pronounce it. She was featured on Last One Standing by Jeremy James Whittaker, and I really, really liked this album. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It's worship music, but kind of sung in a folksy kind of way. And I forget what her name was, something Crawford. Leanna Crawford, maybe. She dropped an album this year as well that also had a very similar vibe. It was very folksy, but it was worship music still. And I really like that kind of sound, especially for worship music. So this is one of my favorite albums that I listened to this week, although it's not from May 2nd from the drops. Let's see what else we have. I don't know if we have all that much more. I'm gonna have to pull up on my phone and then go to Spotify, because for some reason these two albums I can't rate yet. I don't know if they're just not on Music Board, or what. So the next album I want to talk about is Where the Heart Is by Kofi Darty. This was a kind of, I want to say, Afrobeat a little bit, but it wasn't super in your face. It talks a lot about, like, the beginning song is a phone call to his grandma, I think, from, I guess, the motherland. It's literally in the title of the name, which I think he said in this album several times. It's like Ghana, that's where he's from. So it's kind of like a homage to where he's from, and it was a really solid listen. It actually was a little better than I was expecting, which I was very happy about. And I think also what I liked about it is it was kind of Afrobeat in a sense, but it wasn't super in your face, and all the songs had a little bit of personality, which a lot of Afrobeat music is the same exact beat, just different lyrics. So I really did enjoy this. I'd probably give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm not sure yet because I haven't fully rated it yet. And then the second one is called Global Love Alive in parentheses London by Donald Lawrence. This was an interesting album. I'll just say that. I looked a little bit into Donald Lawrence, and it looks like he's somewhat of a famous gospel artist from like the 90s, which is pretty cool. I've never heard of him until I saw this on Spotify. And this is 8 songs and 50 minutes long, so each song is pretty long. Yeah, most of them are like 6 to 8 minutes long, and I don't know, it was not my favorite kind of worship style music, or I wouldn't say it's worship, it's gospel music, which is kind of different than worship. There was just, I don't know, it felt a little I hate saying cringe because that feels like I'm being like a terrible critic, but it didn't come across as like super authentic, or I don't know what the word is. Authentic might not be the word. It's not my style of gospel music, if I'm being honest. So I'll probably give this one a 2 or a 2.5 out of 5 stars. And that is the last one that I have to review for this week. There may be some albums and EPs that I listen to throughout the rest of this week that I might find dropped, but I'm recording this on Sunday, so all of these I've listened to from Friday at 12 a.m. up until today, and I've also kind of had a busy weekend, so it's like, you know, you can listen to music all the time. I mean, I listen to music when I drive places. This is just, it's how I do it. I got a lot of music that I listen to, and I just enjoy, you know, reviewing it and stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of music from this week, and this is just from the last 3 days of what I've listened to. So yeah, I'll give you maybe an updated version if I do listen to extra this week. But for now, this is the video from May 2nd, everything that I listened to that dropped, album and EP wise. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys listen to. Are there any albums or EPs that I missed from this week? Let me know in the comments. Go be fruitful. Let's go.